Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. My eyes were glued to the TV when I first saw the commercial back in 2002.
Burrow, and realize your skill. You have the magic. Summon your talent, defeat your foes, and be Harry Potter in the video game Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Rated E for everyone.
What a time capsule. That being said, does this game have some magical moments up its sleeve? Well, in a world of mystery, anything is possible, right? Okay. The game jumps straight ahead at the Burrow where the Weasleys live, with Harry in preparation for Hogwarts School Witchcraft and Wizardry. Basically, it's here that a brief target practice is introduced, putting Harry's flipendo skills to the test. This first spell attacks enemies sporting blue particle effects. Lock and shoot, nothing more.
We need to get a move on with the de-gnoming. Mum will go mad if she finds any gnomes left in the garden.
Look, there's one over there.
What you have to do is flipendo them until they're dazed and confused.
Wow, I've got to try this.
Then you grab hold of them and spin them round. And chuck them out of the garden.
It's simple like taking candy from a baby. Knowing how to time your throws can be somewhat tricky for amateurs, but the accomplishment is satisfying. Don't hold for too long, or else you'll get dizzy. And wouldn't you know it, Harry is ready, because not only is he congratulated by Mrs. Weasley, but he's also rewarded with a chocolate frog. Nice! Not long after, Harry is transported to Diagon Alley, where he is tasked to find Ginny's art supplies. According to her, the items had dropped in various fireplaces because magic perhaps? Yet somehow remembers where they're located. Alright then, in no particular order, first stop, Magical Menagerie.
Ginny said her brass scales were in here somewhere.
Seems creepy enough.
Didn't you hear me, boy? I said, we're closed now. Go away. I don't know, kids today.
His appearance definitely frightened me for a moment. And for the first time, it's Metal Gear Potter. Pretty self-explanatory. Avoid getting caught so you can reach the main objective.
Ginny's brass scales.
As I exit my way out, the next stop I head to is the Leaky Cauldron. Here, entering the basement is a small trip where you must climb back out, just so you can attain the second item. Last but not least, Gamble and Japes, a shop where you can purchase stink pellets and retrieve Ginny's last item. From there, Harry returns her missing school supplies and goes to Flourishing Blocks to meet up with Gilderoy Lockhart. All of a sudden, Ron shows up to tell him that they had missed the train.
Yes! The Hogwarts Express left 5 minutes ago! Oh no! What are we going to do?
Apparently, his mother left him behind despite the fact that Ginny was here a few minutes ago. Probably because they ran out of time, assuming that's precisely the case. So Harry and Ron head to the flying car in order to catch up. Just when they nearly arrived, both crash into a mysterious tree known as the Whomping Willow. Ron falls into a trap, and Harry must make his way to save him. It's all about navigating around the tree from its creepy atmosphere, but not before its branches try to block your path and having these little creatures trying to attack you. What a way to set the tone. Inevitably, Harry makes his way around battling the tree for Ron's release. Dodge, attack, rinse, and repeat.
Thanks, Harry. Much appreciated.
You know, I'm surprised he didn't suffocate while he was held tight.
Better get a move on. We don't want Professor Snape catching us out so late.
Finally, they get to Hogwarts only for Professor Snape to show up after briefly talking trash about him. Luckily for both, he lets them off the hook.
And count yourselves lucky. If I should catch either of you out after tonight, I will definitely deduct house points.
Come on, Harry. I'll meet you outside the entrance hall.
That line happens to describe this introduction. Hogwarts is essentially the main hub that covers the entire gameplay experience. Harry's second year revolves around finding what the Chamber of Secrets is all about by roaming in and outdoors. This means that completing mission objectives are situated by day and night missions, the first of which takes place in the following morning. Oddly enough, this scene mirrors the Sorcerer's Stone, even though it never took place in the second film. But only the famous Harry Potter is privileged enough to undertake this challenge. Wow, controlling the numerous broomstick feels jerky to coordinate with. It can be incredibly aggravating, especially when making sharp turns due to its sensitivity. As instructed, the goal is to fly through many rings as possible. Yep, sounds like Superman 64, isn't it? Needless to say, its mechanics are not reliably well handled. Once the session is over, the transition to nighttime becomes immediate when Ron and Hermione get tired too soon by plot convenience. In these late hours, Harry must trespass certain areas in order to attain key items, whether it be a new spell or information regarding the Chamber of Secrets. And since he's clearly traversing undetected, stealth inevitably plays a role as prefects are wandering around guarding entryways. They will take away 5 house points every time you get caught, which can impact the Gryffindor team. Yes, because that really counts and is something that you can lose going onward. By contrast, the daytime missions play out like a school routine. After helping Neville from being trapped behind a curtain, this segues to Harry's second assignment, where he must attain the Expelliarmus spellbook in order to learn magical self-defense. Roaming in these dungeon-like environments are filled with platforms and castle terrains. Each remaining class revolves around doing the same thing, carefully traversing in and out of sections to get a new spell for progression. The obstacles themselves are fairly adequate, offering decent puzzle solving, gargoyle boss fights, and hazards that get in your way or kill you altogether. It's no wonder the faculty rewards students 40 house points for completing these dangerous tasks, possibly the highest credit for a class assignment. With Harry's defensive spell equipped, he's pitted against Draco Malfoy for a dueling section. Once the opponent fires their spell, you hold down and shortly release it to deflect back. But believe it or not, I find myself using Flipendo head on because the enemy always seems to never miss. They will manage to hit you even when the blast radius is a few centimeters off. Keep shooting it and you'll end the session in no time. Malfoy's defeat causes Harry to speak in Parseltongue. Because of this, rumors from the students has led to believe that Harry is the heir of Slytherin. You see, every time he does something as a means to progress, practically the whole school knows about his status.
Hello, Potter. Absolutely petrified to speak to you.
Parselmouth.
Oh, hello, Potter. Is it true you hate that non-magical lot you live with?
And then there's the Quidditch Matches. This is where Harry must compete against the 3 opposing teams, those being of course Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. The only game you're playing is the Seeker, and your objective is to catch the snitch by going through rings. The more rings Harry travels into, the faster he accelerates, which sends a magical charge to his broom. This allows you to boost your way closer to initiate the grab for a good catch. Likewise, missing a ring will slow your momentum, and when colliding against walls, bludgers, and other opponents becomes a challenge, the controls remain exactly as they are, tricky to handle. As soon as the class routine is over, the house points begin to proceed, proving that each member has done something meaningful that counts until the end of the day. By the time it gets to the second nighttime mission, that's where the story finally meets the game's title. Harry goes into the library's restricted section to snag a copy of Hogwarts history. When he attains the book to scavenge evidence by Hermione's request, turns out that Salazar Slytherin has created a secret chamber within the school's confines. According to the text, he believed that students with non-magical parents should be forbidden from learning magic, causing the 3 other founders to turn down his proposition. Distraught by the outcome, he left the school and stated that his true heir will unleash the monster to petrify those who are unworthy. Unbeknownst to them, this was deemed as a myth for quite some time. With a bit more investigation, the trio begins to suspect that Malfoy himself is the heir of Slytherin, and so, Harry disguises himself as one of his friends to find out. Surprisingly, the answer is no, but he did learn that it was opened 50 years prior, and that a girl died by a monster within the school's bathroom. With this knowledge at hand, in addition to tracing Tom Riddle's diary, Harry figures that all of this connects to the girl's bathroom, and since Myrnie Martel was initially a student, Harry questions her demise as his final piece to the puzzle. She then unequivocally points to the sink where the threat was presumably lurking. By now, he recognizes the usage of Parseltongue and quickly proceeds to open it straight up. And that's how he discovers the Chamber of Secrets. Upon arrival, however, he sees Ginny unconscious, guarded by a student named Tom Riddle. In an attempt to worship Salazar Slytherin's dreams, He was responsible for opening the Chamber's secrets 50 years prior. Since he acted mischievous behind closed doors, Hagrid was instead blamed for it when he himself orchestrated the plan. This explains how he was able to manipulate Ginny into reopening the Chamber's entrance, that same enchanted diary that she was given by Lucius Malfoy back at Diagon Alley. Thus, how the disturbing messages on the walls came to be. When Harry begins to question his reasoning, he then reveals to him that he's, in fact, Lord Voldemort. Without any more hesitation, he summons the monster to carry his sinister deeds once and for all. And wow, does he become Lord Voldemort when Harry is forced into submission?
I have returned. The world will be purged of all mudbloods and non-magical people. I, Lord Voldemort, will conquer all.
Only when you intentionally fail can this happen. Inevitably, Harry kills the serpent, which wipes out Tom Riddle's memories, including himself. With Ginny rescued, everyone returns to safety, and Harry proves himself once again that he's the boy who lived. And that's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, an action-adventure fantasy filled with dark undertones. Once the story is complete, the House Cup becomes readily available. However, if you don't have enough house points to surpass the opposing members, then Slytherin will emerge as the victor, meaning that you can actually lose in this game. And this is where the side quests come into play, more specifically, retrieving the lost items. Every time you walk up to the notice board in your common room, it will state the name of said item with vague indications of where it's located. Some are fairly obvious, while others leave you searching aimlessly whether you're in or out of the Hogwarts ground. When you do find the missing item, 10 house points will be rewarded one piece at a time. Therefore, you must repeat the process until the last one is retrieved. Yeah, because having to deal with load times with more than 3 separate occasions definitely takes the cake. Then there's the confiscated items, which can solely be found outdoors. You walk up to these isolated students who will inform Harry with barely any clues. Make sure to accept it before wandering off, otherwise the item will not appear. Retrieving all 5 of them grants you a key to unlock a storeroom for a bigger beanbag and extra treasure chest. This quest is exclusive to the PlayStation 2. Interestingly enough, while the Xbox and GameCube ports are exactly identical, the PS2 version has subtle variations. For one, the Hogwarts ground is very spacious, giving it a semi-open world playground. Not only can you land on rooftops to solve extra mini-puzzles, but also enter segregated areas of the castle exterior. In comparison, reaching to a specific section is cut down by a teleportation method, and while you can't fly around to get a stack of beams through these random ring multipliers, that's the only thing it has going for it. Considering there's no way to dismount on any rooftop, the racing and known challenges are accessible by a student who's near the Hogwarts entrance. When it comes to these flying controls, the smoothness is undeniable here, thanks to a precise flow. Unlike the PS2 version, where movement feels stiff like a weak animatronic, causing you to spaz out in brief moments. Thankfully, that's not the case with the Xbox and GameCube side of things. The gnome challenges harken back to the intro, except you're trying to earn a high score by throwing them into these moving colored rings. Notice the camera's perspective between the two. One is a bird's eye view, making it easier to determine accuracy, while the other not at all. Only educated guesses rather, which arguably enhances the difficulty. It's also worth noting the same situation applies in the stealth sections. The Xbox and GameCube version has this forced overhead view. In theory, this ramps up the tension to create a sense of claustrophobia, but the execution falls flat in the gameplay department. Because the camera is needlessly close to Harry, and for some reason doesn't involve him wearing an invisibility cloak, it's difficult to see what's ahead without leaning against walls, so you can imagine how scary my situation played out. Can I make it? Can I make it?
Get back to your dormitory!
Luckily, the ladder gives you a clear vision, allowing you to carefully plan your next move. However, the trade-off that it comes with is extra prefects, many of whom can be seen in the main hallway and outfields. Expect them to corner you at almost every angle. And by the way, if you want to replay a particular mission, make sure to make an extra save slot because the game was designed to be played from beginning to end. You can manually save whenever from the pause menu, whereas the other is done by walking to these scrolls. Not sure this was due to mitigate technical issues or if it was simply an artistic choice. With that out of the way, exactly what do you get for completing each side quest and minigame? Wizard cards. Besides giving a basic description of some famous wizards, these collectibles can increase your health bar for every 10 you obtain, albeit in small increments. In total, there's 101, most of which can be found in these treasure chests laying around. In the Xbox and GameCube version, when Harry opens one, he will instantly pick it up and say the names that you acquired.
Number 91, Wilfred Elphick. Number 26, Elmeric Sawbridge. Number 69, Bertie Bott. Number 48, Salazar Slytherin.
That's much better compared to the PS2, where instead, he digs out the card, makes you pick it up, and doesn't even bother to tell the player what it is, let alone show you. If you're planning to get them all, then you must have 4 spells in your disposal: Defindo, Scourge, Incendio, and Alohomora, the only spell that is strictly used for unlocking chests. The rest, such as Lumos, Avaforce, and Expelliarmus, are merely for story progression. When you're not transfiguring objects, severing curtains, cleaning up ectoplasm, conjuring flames, or eliminating secret passages, then you're using Flipendo to nab Bertie Bott's every flavor beans. Yes, these beans that permeate at every site act as currency. The shop is located at a secret bathroom in your common room run by the Weasley twins. You can purchase upgrades tailored to distract the prefects, the aforementioned Alohomora spell, and, you guessed it, more wizard cards. When I managed to collect 100 of them, the last one was in Dumbledore's hands.
Number 101, Harry Potter. Wicked.
Not sure why he's located outside his office here, but then again, that's subtlety when you're maneuvering back and forth time after time. Exclusive to the GameCube version is a portrait that takes you inside the Gringotts Bank. However, since I don't own the system, nor the link cable that is required to access it, I can't show you what that looks like, unfortunately. So if I had to declare which is better between these versions, it's definitely the Xbox and GameCube. The graphics boast refined textures, cutscenes sport better animations, basically everything looks and feels like an improvement, right down to the main menu. Not to mention, it runs at 60 frames per second, with some minor hiccups. Aside from that, everything else remains the same, which fittingly can be said about the boss fights. They can get very repetitive, particularly when you're battling against the gargoyles. Having to fight them more than once feels tiring, and the ones that stand out offer a decent challenge. Certainly not bad. Without a doubt, the most iconic feature that this game presents so wonderfully is the music. It easily captures the whimsical nature of Harry Potter, while simultaneously being distinct from John Williams' score. The composer really deserves a round of applause, from the busy cityscape of Diagon Alley to the morning routine of Hogwarts. The orchestra notes just sound outstanding. What a brilliant piece that complements this otherwise magical setting. One last thing. If you thought those flickering lights were glitches and not some visual trickery from the game's inherent design, you'd be correct. I played on an older PlayStation 3 via backwards compatible software. Look what happens when I open one of the entryways to Diagon Alley.
Very dark in here.
Now, according to Wikipedia, this only happens on partial emulation units. Apparently, you must repeat the process again and again until the game randomly forces Harry to stop. I did this over 10 times, with no results whatsoever. However, I managed to resolve this issue by complete accident. While he's entering, if you switch your spell by assigning it to an unused button, the game will think you're loading a new area, forcing him to stop. That's not the only issue that I encountered. The load times will occasionally freeze, particularly in Hagrid's hut. This was almost like a dead end because the game refused to let me continue. I had to regularly save and reset over and over again until I finally got through. As long as you have the patience, immediately save your progress once you complete the mission. Again, this only happens on partial emulation units, and since the launch PS3 systems claims to have no issues, I can't confirm that. The Xbox 360 port suffers from severe slowdown in cutscenes and many areas, making it almost unbearable. It's a shame because these backwards compatibility ports are convenient options, unless you're willing to play on original hardware and shell out a cheap converter box for an inferior image quality. Overall, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets deserves the House Cup for its Legend of Zelda inspired gameplay and musical prowess. While the game itself definitely has problems, mainly the spotty camera and platforming sections, it is one of the best Harry Potter games that I'd ever played, at least for its time. And despite none of the actors reprising their respective roles, this unique interpretation kept me hooked until the very end.
Commitment to the school, it is with great pleasure that I present the House Cup to Gryffindor.